What's up, losers, and welcome back to Zero Losers Studio, your regular source for all things geeky and all things super. Now, it's no secret that for the better part of the last decade, comic book superheroes have completely invaded the cinematic screen. Companies such as Marvel and DC Comics have become common topics of discussion, not just for fellow comic book enthusiasts, but for anyone with access to a television or a local movie theater. DC Comics has slowly been introducing some of its biggest hitters one movie at a time, and is now even starting to share focus on some of their more iconic villains, while Marvel is about to reach the fourth phase of its epic storytelling. It's easy to see how big these movies have gotten, but this isn't the first or second time that these Caped Crusaders and Dark Knights have made their presence known. Superhero movies have been a thing for ages. A lot have been great and trailblazing in their own way, but today's video isn't about those movies. Today's video is about a lot of those unforgettable movies that a lot of us wish that we could forget. Up first this week is a movie that probably won't come as a surprise to anyone. Green Lantern came out in June 17th of 2011 and has been the butt of people's jokes since then. It had a more than solid budget of $200 million and only made $220 million in the box office. Y'all, this movie, look. Green Lantern is a great superhero, and the cast had so much potential. In fact, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern himself, was played by Ryan Reynolds. Despite that, this movie never had a chance. The tone of the film is all over the place, and it just generally feels like a mess. The writing has been referred to as thin, and despite having a decent cast, it just wasn't enough, and the movie is considered the biggest disappointment of 2011. Although, I don't think anyone was as disappointed by that movie as Ryan Reynolds was himself.
4?
You would give it a 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
You give it a 3 or 4.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah, 1! It's a 1!
It's alright, Ryan. We all make mistakes. And you've more than made up for that one with your more recent and much more successful comic book portrayals. Personally, I definitely won't say this movie's any good, but it's definitely not the worst movie on this video. But then again, that's not really saying much. Either way, if you're that interested and are willing to sacrifice around 2 hours to the void, give it a watch. Make an opinion for yourself. Now, second on this list is one that Boshi hates me for even trying to bring up in this video, and that's the infamous Catwoman movie. For more than 15 years, this movie has tarnished the name of Catwoman with a horrible depiction of its character. With a budget of $100 million, it barely broke $82 million. Originally, Michelle Pfeiffer was supposed to reprise her role as the feline seductress from Batman Forever, which, by the way, is a great movie directed by Tim Burton and starring Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Danny DeVito as Penguin. Have you ever heard a more beautiful statement? However, Pfeiffer had to back out due to a few scheduling issues, and after a few tosses around, the role eventually landed on Halle Berry. It's unfortunate that Barry's career is haunted by this movie, seeing as we've all seen how amazing she is playing one of my favorite female heroes. But the movie was too much for even her to save. The story doesn't follow a specific Catwoman mythos, and instead uses a brand new origin story. Something about Egyptian goddesses and being a part of a whole line of Catwoman. But I mean, it's a comic book character, so a fresh origin story isn't exactly a deal breaker for me. The biggest criticism though, the movie outright refused to give Barry's character any depth past her beautiful good looks, and the character was hyper-sexualized. That, and the fact that Batman isn't even so much as mentioned in the film. Not a smart move at all. It won a Raspberry Award for Worst Picture, and Halle Berry herself got one for Worst Actress. This one should have stayed in the drafts. Alright, I want to get this next one out of the way as smoothly as possible. Unlike the previous two movies, this movie was actually a box office success, even though it was critically shit on by everyone else. In 2007, the world brought us yet another subpar superhero film. This one starring Nicolas Cage as the main character. That's right, Ghost Rider. I sincerely don't know what I can even say about this movie. Like, first of all, it wasn't all that interesting to begin with. Ghost Rider, although a decent character in the comics, isn't all that popular or well known, so I'm not sure why they decided to make a whole ass movie about the guy. The CGI wasn't too bad for its time, but with a budget of $110 million, it better damn not be. For me personally though, the film just suffers the same fate as any movie starring Nicolas Cage as the lead. It's just so very much a Nicolas Cage movie. Sorry, Mr. Cage, but am I wrong?
What do you say you cut me some friggin' slack?
Alright, now comes the very last movie on this list. And it pains me to bring this movie up because I'm biased and it's one of my favorite movies, and it's just, I love this movie so much. For me, this is like Twilight, a guilty pleasure. One of my all-time favorite characters got his own movie all the way back in 2003. 17 years ago. Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck as the titled vigilante and Jennifer Garner as Elektra, was met with mixed reviews from critics, but with a budget of $78 million, The smallest on this list, it made $179 million in the box office. Despite that, it's not always praised as a great movie. That doesn't include me, obviously. Like I said, Matt Murdock is probably one of my top 3 favorite characters of all time. I actually enjoyed Affleck's portrayal, and the soundtrack? Oh my god, the soundtrack. The soundtrack alone was enough to sell it for me. Just like Daredevil himself, the movie is edgy and darker than most of the superhero films before it. It stayed pretty true to Stan Lee's character and involved other known personalities like Bullseye and the Kingpin. Several of the scenes in the movie were taken shot for shot from the comics, and you can just feel the respect for the source material. The action scenes were great and showed off how kick-ass Matt Murdock is. Charlie Cox will probably always be my choice actor for the role of Matt, but I can't deny Mr. Affleck's success either. After filming this video, I'm probably gonna bust out my old copy of the movie and give it a watch. Okay. That is going to be concluding this week's video. I really wanted to end it strong for you guys with a movie that I actually enjoy. Like always, there's a lot more that could have been said in this video, but I just don't have enough time to be bringing up every single bad movie there is out there. Plus, it really hurt me a lot to talk about Green Lantern and Ghost Rider. Do you guys really want me to talk about the more recent failures like these or this? Anyways, you know the drill. Don't forget to like, comment, and ring the notification bell for any future content. Subscribe to Zero Loser Studio to see how long I go without getting a haircut, and while you're at it, give me a follow on Twitter. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to wait to see me in the next video. Until then, see you later, losers.